Good morning and welcome to this second lecture on data mining from a network or from a graph. In the first lecture, we have gone through the data set that was represented using two tables. The first one was your data sources and second one was your developers table. Data source ID was acting as primary key in this table, and it will also going to be act as your foreign key for the second table. So in the last video, we created an edge list out of the data being represented using this data set, and the structure of that edge list was this, that it was containing the edges in the form of your source vertex and your destination vertex along with the weight w. So from this edge list we can create a weighted undirected network. Now let us try to have a look at what we created. So go to your Anaconda, uh, then launch your Jupyter notebook, and from the notebook go to the data mining and then further to network mining. And within network mining there is a file that is a CSV nature. If we open this, then it shows that these are the edges stored in the form of source vertex, then your destination vertex, and then 10 is acting as the weight of this edge. So this is your first edge, second edge, third edge, fourth edge, and so on. This same list can also be accessed from your current directory in which your Jupyter notebook is running. So go to your C drive and then for users, under users particular user, and then to the data mining, and then further data mining to network mining, and here is the list that was just created in the last video. So here again the edges are same as that we just seen in our Jupyter notebook. So we can access this from both the ways, just by going through your Jupyter notebook as well as by going through the current directory. Now let us move to the code that we have write for that network mining purpose. This first one was for data preparation, and that we did in our last class, last video. Now the second one is our network mining file. It contains the code. So come to your first block, that is the import part of your Python file. We need networkx library of the Python. Actually networkx provides the creation and manipulation of your networks or graphs from any given edge list, from any adjacency matrix, or from your any adjacency list. Means it just reads them and forms a network out of it. That network may be the directed one, undirected one, the weighted one, as well as it may be of the non-weighted also. So we first need to install the networkx. For installation purpose we need to go to the terminal, and after opening the terminal just write, or you can say install using pip command. Now move to the next block, that is now here we want to have the number of nodes present within the network, number of edges present within the network, and we want to also have the minimum degree contained, or you can say um, the minimum degree attained by any node and maximum degree attained by any of the nodes within the network. So these things we want to have from the graph or network that we have just created. So we executed this, and what comes out to be is that this graph, this network contains 1606 number of nodes and 4284 number of edges are present in the network. Minimum degree attained by any node is equal to 1, and maximum degree a node is having is equal to 48. Now we want to have a sorted look of your number of nodes or your nodes along with their degrees. As there are 1606 nodes, so let us concentrate only upon first 10 nodes. We want to have the 10 nodes having uh, the degree sorted in a decreasing order. So if we run or execute this statement, let us first try to understand this, what exactly it is doing. So this is your degree sorted, a variable only. Sorted function is called with arguments dictionary degree, that I just shared, that degree returned is of type dictionary. And now its key is going to be the operator dot item getter 1. Actually this is having two items within this. First item is your node name, and the second item that we have just looked at, first item was name of the node, second item was your degree of the node. So it want to have the second argument, that means item getter 1, second in the list is going to act as your key, and reverse is true. So we want to have a sorted list for first 10 highest degree nodes. So if we execute it, then it returned that ycats is having degree 48, then decrease to 46, then ssmot 39, and so on. So the first 10 nodes in that order are printed. Now next move to the draw statement. So the draw is a function of your networkx library. It is having uh, many arguments. The first one is graph g, which we have just created uh, in the above statements. The second one is the size of your node. Now here we want to have or we want to represent a particular node by giving its size which is directly proportional to its degree. Means a node having 10 degree will be smaller than the other one having degree equal to 20. So this is the functionality for this. Means we want to have the node size directly proportional or 10 times that of the degree of that particular node. So this is the argument for that, and we want to have the color of each node as green. We may have any color, red, blue, etc. out here. If we execute this, then it will draw a graph for us, just showing all the interactions represented in your CSV file that we created earlier, and for which we created a graph or network using your networkx library. So this is the graph drawn for us. Here the size of node depicts its degree, means the thinner nodes are having higher degree, lower degree, and the thicker nodes are having larger degree. Now move to the next block. Now in this particular block we want to remove all the nodes which are having degree equal to 1 or are not connected at all to any number of nodes, any nodes within the network. For doing that, we have just created a copy of the graph G that we have created above, and now G2 contains a copy of G, and D2 represent, or D2 is a degree, a holder for the second graph. Now we want to remove all the nodes. For the doing the same, we took loop for n is equal for n g dot nodes. G means the original graph. We want to have a check upon all number of nodes, and we are checking if d2 of n is less than equal to 1. It means it is connected with at most one node. Then we have to remove it. Now we are removing it from graph G2, not from G. G is the original one and will going to remain the same. Now if we insert, or if we perform this iteration with G2 instead of our original, then it will generate a message for us saying that dictionary changed size during iteration. What actually is happening, that we are executing a loop for all the number of nodes present within G2, and within the loop we are removing a particular node. So actually we are executing upon the size of a dictionary itself and modifying the nodes also. So instead of it, we'll be taking G, just for having a trace, because the number of nodes in G as well as in G2 are same, because G2 is just a copy of this copy of your G. Now uh, execute it. Now it has removed all the vertices which are having degree 1 or lesser. Now we want to have the information about the newly constructed graph. Now it contains 1075 number of nodes, and number of edges uh, remained is equal to 3975. So this is the code responsible for printing the number of nodes present in the new network and number of edges present in the new network G2. Are all future instruction will be based upon this graph G2 only, means the graph which is having the vertices whose degree is at least 2. Now we want to have a look at this graph, means uh, what is its visualization. So for drawing this, we wrote a particular statement for drawing G2, and if we execute it, it will be displaying the graph structure that is newly constructed one. So this is our newly constructed graph after removing the edges of lower degree. We can clearly see that here number of edges or vertices are more, and here they are less in numbers. Now we again want to have a check whether the newly constructed graph is connected or not. So executed it, returned false. It means it is having many number of components, or you can say it is not a single unit, which is true. Just have a look at the structure of the graph. Next one is when here we want to print how many number of connected components are present within the new graph. So executed, it printed that 138 is the number. It means there are 138 individual subgraphs present in this representation, or your network G2 contains 138 individual subgraphs. Now we are going to work upon these disconnected graphs, or these subgraphs of graph G2. Now let us see how we can access these subgraphs. The earlier versions of Python, means earlier than 2.4, all were providing you a function that is connected component subgraph with the help of or through NetworkX library. But this function is discontinued from 2004 onwards. So we need to write a function for performing this task, means for finding or for returning the subgraph out of a given graph G. So this is the function for same. A graph G is passed to it as argument, and it returns all subgraphs contained within this graph as the result. Yield G dot subgraph by iterating for C in the connected component. So it is going to result all the subgraphs present within a graph. So we made a call in this statement, and so we have to make a call that graphs is equal to connected component of G2. This function is called, this one is called with G2 as argument. So the number of disconnected components are returned within the list graph. Now we need to sort these graphs as according to their size, means how many number of nodes a particular graph is containing. So let us name it as graph sorted, and we applied sorted function when graphs which we just created here is passed as argument, and the key is length, means it is going to sort as according to the number of nodes present within this the graphs, and the reverse is true. So it is going to have the graphs in a sorted order, means the graph with highest number of nodes will be the first one, next is next, and so on. And now we want to have a look what is the nature of these graphs which just came in the sorted form. So just execute this block. So it generated that the first graph, or you can say first disconnected component, was containing 382 number of nodes, the second one was containing 43 nodes, fourth one was 16, and so on. In this way all 138 entries will be printed by this statement. Now let us try to have a look uh, upon individual subgraph. So this block will help for this purpose. Now we want to have uh, number of nodes present within the graph which was sorted earlier, and also want to have a look upon the node with its individual degree. So this first statement says that for graph in graph sorted, as there were 138 individual subgraphs, so we are just considering only three graphs. Means we are going to print the first, you can say the graphs were starting from zero index, so we left zero. Why? Because the zeroth or your first graph was containing 382 nodes. That was a bit cumbersome to visualize, so we went for the second one, third one, and fourth one. And after putting this iterative loop, we printed the number of nodes present in that particular graph, and after printing we want to have its degree view. Means node along with its degree, which is a dictionary in nature. So execute this, and what we got is that number of nodes present within the graph 1 is equal to 43, which is true. If we look at this, means number of nodes was equal to 43, and for this particular graph its degree view is that first node is this and its degree was this, second is this and its degree was this. In the same way, the graph number 2 is containing 16 number of nodes, which we can just verify. Third one containing 15 number of nodes, which we can verify from here only. So it just printed the number of nodes and its degree view within the generated disconnected graphs. Now we want to plot some of the subgraphs which were uh, a part of your graph G2, and for doing this we wrote this block where I was initialized to 0, and we iterated upon for graph in graph sorted, and we considered only first five: 0, first, second, third, and fourth. These five graphs are to be printed. So we what we did is that print the nodes in graph I, means I was initially 1, 0, and graph degree was given to graph degree, means the degree view for the first graph is generated, and we drawn it using f1.pltplot.figure. And the next statement is the draw, that is we have to draw with argument graph, means the first instance from the sorted graph, and its node size is again proportional to its degree, and then with labels is equal to true, means we want to visualize the graph along with its label, that is named as draw one with name labels, means nodes of the names of the nodes will be printed on the graph, and font size is equal to 8. Next is that we want to store this graph with a name that is given as file name is equal to graphs label, that is the constant one, string I, means so this file name one is equal to graph labels is a string constant, and then string, or you can say I, which was integer earlier, is casted to string, and then plus png, means png is going to be its extension. So this all forms a string which will act as the name of this file, where in the image or file which was just drawn by this is going to be stored. So the next is f1 dot save figure, that was named as equal to file1. So these three statements or four statements are going to create a graph for visualization, and will store that graph with a particular name. And the next graph that we want to have is without labels. So each and everything remained the same, except that here this with labels is equal to false or not mentioned at all. By means by default it is going to be false. So these are the two block of statements. One will draw a labeled graph, the other one will draw unlabeled graph, and both of these graphs will be saved. So before going to run this, let us try to have a look of our current directory. At this time this directory is not containing any png file. Now if we execute this, then the execution of this results in printing the number of nodes present within the first graph, second graph, third graph due to the effect of this statement. And it is the first graph in this sequence, in the sorted one that was containing 343 number of nodes. So this is the first graph. This is its unlabeled figure. There were two block, one was generating labeled graph, other one was generating unlabeled one. So this is labeled one for first, this is unlabeled one for the first, this is labeled one for second, this is unlabeled for second, labeled one for third, unlabeled for second, and so on. In this way there are 5 graphs plotted for a single subgraph, and as there are total 5 graphs to be plotted, and we are plotting 2 graphs, one is labeled, one is unlabeled. So in a total 10 graphs are to be plotted, will be present there for visualization. So all these 10 graphs are also stored by using this statement with a particular name. Now after execution of this statement, let us again try to have a look upon our current directory. So all those graphs are saved here: graph 1, graph 2, graph 3, graph 4, and graph labels, etc. Means one designated for labeled graph, other one designated for unlabeled graph. So it shows unlabeled one and it shows your labeled one. So this is the purpose of this block. The important one means it has just explained how to display as well as to store the graphs. The next important thing in our network X, or in any graph or any network plotted against any real life problem, is its centrality. We have just discussed in our earlier lecture the definitions for betweenness centrality, then your eigen vector centrality, then your closeness centrality. And one more thing that has just appeared is cliques. What actually are the cliques? Cliques for a graph G is a subgraph that is complete in itself, and a particular graph is said to be complete if there is an edge, if there is a connecting edge between every two vertices. The simplest example is your triangle ABC. So A is connected to B, A is connected to C, and B is connected to A as well as to C, and C is connected to A as well as B. So it is forming a clique out of any given graph G. So we have to generate all the cliques for a particular graph. Then your network X provides us a clique function within its library network X. So we are going to make use of these cliques. Cliques are actually very important measure for any network. It finds how 2, 3, or you can say a number of nodes are involved in interaction. Suppose we want to have a most cohesive unit of a graph, then we are going to make use of your clique values of your network. So let us start understanding this. We started with 0, then again we are iterating upon first 5 graphs only. Print the number of nodes, means how many number of nodes are there. Then graph degree, we are having, it will return as the degree as a dictionary. Then cliques is equal to list nx dot cliques is the function that returns the cliques present within the graph, and then we printed these cliques. And next one is your betweenness centrality. Its definition and formula to calculate we have already discussed in the lecture, and after generating it using this function, we printed it. Before printing, we need to sort it also. So this statement sorted the nodes, uh, which nodes as according to their betweenness centrality value, and then printed it. Next one is your eigenvector centrality. Again the same thing. We found the eigenvector centrality and then sorted them as according, or you can say in decreasing order of their eigenvector centrality value. And the third one is your closeness centrality. Again the same thing. We found the closeness centrality, then sorted it, and then we printed it. Now if we execute this, so it returns that the number one graph we started it with. First graph contains these many number of nodes, number of clicks for the graph 1. These are the clicks, means this is a particular click from here to here for the graph first, for the graph number 1, means these are the nodes which are connected to form complete subgraph. The second click is this one, means these three nodes are connected in a complete graphical way in this graph. So this information is for the graph 1, and next one it should display is its betweenness centrality, all nodes in the decreasing order. And now after betweenness centrality, it goes for eigenvector centrality, again displayed for all the nodes. And the next one is your closeness centrality, and it is again displayed in a decreasing order. So this is the way how we can have the centrality measures out from a graph. And in a way we are actually, what we actually are doing is we are finding the most important, most influential nodes out of it. We can just have a formula that takes betweenness centrality, closeness centrality, and your eigenvector centrality as their component, and as a collection it generates a single ranking out of the nodes present within the network. So we can just rank the nodes as according to their influence, or as according to their importance within the present network. Now the next block is for superimposition of graphs on the same canvas. Here we want to have a plot of graph G2. So we selected a layout for this, and we draw the G2 on this canvas, again using same parameters. And after drawing this, we drew the other graph that was containing only one node, means node list was containing only Tierson. So if we execute this, then we'll see that it is drawn, it will draw actually two graphs, one with all number of nodes present in your G2, the other one is only graph containing only one node, that was Tierson in nature, and its size was is equal to 300. So this is the overall output. Blue nodes generated by first statement, and the single green node generated by the second statement. In this way we can just have a look upon the individual's neighborhood. So this may be the purpose of this. Now move to the next block, that is the ego networks, which are specifically designed for the task that we have just completed. Means they are used to visualize or to store the local neighborhood of a particular uh, item, or of a particular vertex present in the network or the graph. So let us go by its coding. So in the first statement it is creating, uh, it is calling the connected component subgraph that we have defined earlier, and the output is casted in terms of a list, and that list is passed to the graphs. Now the first component, means the zeroth component, is left because it was containing many, or you can say 300 something number of nodes. So we concentrated upon the second one containing less number of nodes. So the second graph from the list is assigned to your CC. And now we want to have a ego network uh, for this graph 1 for a particular node, that is Etopian. So we want to visualize the neighborhood of Etopian node in your graph first, in your first graph. And further it defines the radius equal to 3. It means the graph should contain all the nodes which are connected by the length equal to 3. Only those nodes are to be considered at its as its neighborhood. So it is going to show, or it is going to have a graph containing vertex Etopian and all those which are connected to it by the path having length equal to 3. Now the next statement says that it stores the degree of your ego graph that we have just created, and it is defining the layout to be used for plotting the graph, and this statement is used to draw the graph with a red colored nodes. So all the graph nodes are to be represented in red color, and the second graph is to be again plotted on the same canvas, ego kind of network, and only node list, or you can say it just contains etopian or single node, and it is further in the green color. So if we execute this statement, it shows that uh, our ego graph is of this nature, which is that here is your etopian node, and all the other nodes are connected by distance at most 3, means this node 1, this node 2, this node 3, this node 1, this 2, and this 3, this node 1, this node 2, and this node 3, means all the paths, all the connections shown here are at most 3 distance from your green color, that is etopian named node. So it is the representation of your ego networks or ego graphs. Okay, now the next two blocks uh, are used to find communities present within the network. Communities are, or you can say, communities can be considered as individual clusters which are following a particular property or particular characteristic within the network. That characteristic may be that they are possessing the same kind of connections, they are conversing to the same number of features, people say they are following same habits, eating habits, or they are, in case of your email network, they are posting same kind of text, their behavior of sending email in bulk is similar, means they are sending 50, they are sending, and means there are so many parameters, so many things based upon which we can decide the clustering or partitioning of a particular network. So these two blocks are used to find communities based upon your line community measure. If we execute these two, then it says that the communities present within the network can be of this nature. So in this graph, all the same colored nodes represent the same partition. Purple color nodes represent the same partition, likewise yellow color, likewise your green color nodes are representing the same communities within the network. Community detection is a separate research direction in which many good researchers or scientists are working for an efficient detection of communities present within a network. So and actually this networks library is very useful. We can just think of its application is in various domains. So in these two lectures we have just learned how to start preparing the edge list, how to start preparing the adjacency or the adjacency list or adjacency matrix for the raw data present in front of us. And after making your edge list, we designed a network, then we found various parameters for it. There are a lot of other things also. So this lecture just acts, or you can say will act as the basement for your further studies in your network mining. Thank you very much.